All right, so it's time for us to start sewing the upper bodies of this gown. So I'm going to remove all the pattern papers. And the first thing to do, like I said, that we are going to attach this sequence to our fabric. So we're going to make it to be one piece. So right now I am placing it on top of the, underlay fabric like so. So I'm going to just sew it down on 0.25 all around so that it can become one piece. So I'll do it for the front and also do it for the back before we start turning it up with our lining. So I'll do that quickly and I'll show you. So like I said, I've sewn it. This has become one piece now, right? Remember I said I have to sew on 0.25 on all the sides, and that is what I've done. And I've done the same thing for this other one. So the next thing for us to do now is to pick our lining. So I'm going to place the front, the right side versus the right side like so. Okay, then I'm going to sew on the neck area on 0.5, and I'll do the same thing for the back. So after sewing them all like this, I'll notch, and then I top stitch. How do you top stitch? I open it up like so and push the allowance to the lining parts, and I top stitch on it. So I'll do that for all of them, the front and the back neckline. Right, I've sewn them down, so I'll go ahead and give them a good press, and then we'll continue. All right guys, as you can see, I've ironed it out. See how flat it's laying. So the next thing, I'm going to place the right side of the back versus the right side for the front for us to turn our shoulder. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to place it together like so, and then I'll flip this across like this. Do you see? And then I'm going to sew it down on 0.5. So I'll still do the same for this other side. Make sure that the right side is facing the right side like so, and then you open it up and you flip it like so. Make sure that the points are lined properly. Flip it like this, okay, and then we'll sew it down. This is the best way to align your shoulder slope. All right, so I'll do this quickly now and I'll show you. Okay guys, I've joined the shoulders. Can you see? I've joined the both shoulders. The next thing for us to do is to shape it. So you have to turn it right side facing right side, okay, and then with your measuring tape you have to measure the total chest circumference divided by 2. You place your measuring tape like so, and then you mark it. When you mark it, you measure the difference and divide it into 2. You mark half here, you mark half here. Next thing, you do the same thing for the waist. Divide the waist like so. You mark it and measure the difference, okay, divide it into 2 and mark it here and mark it here, so you can be able to, so that you'll be able to shape the both sides. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing right away. So I'll go ahead now, sew it down, iron it out, and then we'll start preparing the lower bodies of this beautiful ball gown. Stay tuned. All right, so mates, for the lower skirt, for the lower part of the skirt, I've prepared our flace skirt. I tried to hem it at the lower part with a bias, and you see it's laying flat, and I've also ironed it out. Okay, so it's ready now. So the next thing I did was to come in with my 2 nets. I've gathered it, as you can see. I use my needle and thread to run a loose stitch on all of them. Can you see? And I draw my gathers, okay, to my desired fullness. Yes, that's what I've done here. And so at the hem part of it, I decided to add a little ruffle to it. Can you see? Okay, so this is about 2 inches. The width of this is about 2 inches. So I run a loose stitch on it also. I place it at the hem part, just at the hem part, just 0.5 inch, and I sewed on it. Can you see? So that is what I've done. So the next thing for me to do now is to sew it on the flare. So I'm going to place it on like this and sew it on 0.5 inch allowance all through, and then the skirt part will be ready. Okay, and for our sleeve, I cut out these two nets. I'm also going to run a loose stitch on it, to cover up the sleeve. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing. I thought of to show us all the preparations. I'll go ahead now and join all this together, and our gown will be ready. Stay tuned. So mates, I've joined the sleeve. Can you see? So I had to cut. I found out that the green two net that I have was not enough, so I have to cut out another pieces of this red too, and I attach it to it. I draw the gathers, and that is what I've done. So I've attached for the two sleeves. Can you see? So what I'm doing now is to join the upper bodies to the lower bodies, and to do that, I pin the midpoint together with the midpoint for the lower part of the gown, and then I'll match it up. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to sew it down on 0.5 inch. Remember, I'm sewing only the main fabric, and the main fabric I'm going to also use lining and turn the lining part